The flu is spreading swiftly among children in Korea, with a KDCA survey showing that the number of outpatients in the week from October 26th to November 1st jumped nearly 68% from the previous week.
독감이 어린이들을 중심으로 빠르게 확산하고 있는 가운데 질병관리본부에 따르면 지난 10월 26일부터 11월 1일까지 한 주 동안 독감 외래 환자 수가 그 전주보다 68% 가까이 증가한 것으로 조사됐습니다. Now, the flu is spreading all across the nation, children especially, but that doesn't mean it's only restricted to children.
No, the flu does not discriminate because everyone is susceptible to catching the flu bug. And it is quite a drastic jump if you look at the week-to-week numbers. From October 26th to November 1st, you had an average of about 22.8 per thousand outpatients that contracted the flu. Compare that to 13.6 out of 1,000 the previous week. So like the headline suggests, a 68% increase. And like you said, the proportion amongst children, if the overall average is 22.8, among children aged 7 through 12, that number is 3 times higher. So 68.4 out of every 1,000 cases or outpatients at medical facilities have contracted the flu. So if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, now is a good time, especially if you're young or if you're older than 65, or if you're an expectant mother, get vaccinated out there. And it is free under the National Vaccination Program.
For children and the elderly. That's right. For everyone else, you do have to pay, but it's worth it. 자, 1000명당 한 22명 정도 꼴로 독감 환자가 발생하고 있습니다. 평균적인 거고요. 아이들 같은 경우에는 7세에서 12세 사이의 경우 1000명당 67명 정도 꼴로 지금 독감 환자가 나오고 있습니다. 자, it's spreading.
Yeah.
And how is it spreading?
It's spreading swiftly.
Swiftly.
Right? Like SWIFTLY, an adverb meaning quickly, without delay. And there's a sense of it happening very smoothly and efficiently.
Yeah. 그러네요. Swiftly는 quickly랑 비슷한 느낌이지만 신속하다라는 뉘앙스이기 때문에 스무스한 느낌까지도 같이 들어가 있을 수 있어요.
Yeah. The image I get is, let's say, a bird swooping down to catch a fish in the ocean.
Yeah.
It swiftly sort of swoops down and catches the fish.
Yeah. Or customer service. Sometimes, you'll lodge a complaint or something, and then they'll deal with it swiftly, which means there's no bumps along the way. It's smooth and quick.
Often cases I experience the opposite. Where if there's a complaint, well, I guess actually, it depends on the company and the situation, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
it can take a long time.
It can take a long time sometimes.
Yeah, that's true as well. 자, 그래요. Swift가 이렇게 새가 날아가는 모습으로 연상하셔도 되고요. 다양하게 그 모습을 갖추고 있는데 여기서 말하는 거는 지금 독감 바이러스가 퍼지고 있는 모습이에요.
Yeah, so very quickly.
굉장히 빠르게 확산하고 있다. It's spreading quickly, swiftly 뭐 이렇게 보면 되겠고요. How about an outpatient?
Yeah, so this survey looked at outpatients at medical facilities across the country. These are patients who receive medical treatment but don't have to stay at the hospital or the clinic overnight. So they're treated and then they leave the same day.
So what would you call a patient that has to stay overnight?
Yeah, opposite would be an inpatient.
An inpatient.
Right. Or you could say a hospitalization, right? An inpatient hospitalization.
Have you ever stayed at a hospital?
No. Knock on wood, not in recent memory.
Okay.
No, luckily I have not.
You've never been hospitalized. That's good.
Not in recent memory.
Okay.
When I was younger, I had been.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, not at all.
Awkward question.
I had to think about that, actually.
I have.
You have been?
I have,
okay.
yes. I've been hospitalized.
Okay.
A number of times, actually. So, an outpatient는 외래 환자고요. Inpatient는 입원 환자가 되겠습니다. 근데 한 단어예요. Outpatient, inpatient. 이거 외우기 쉽죠? Out. 그러니까 병원에 머무르지 않고 그냥 진료만 받고 하는 외래 환자. In. 병원에서 계속 머무르는 최소한 이제 1박이라도 입원 환자.
Yeah. And I can't think of any situation where you would not use this out of a medical context because a patient is someone that goes to a hospital or clinic.
Yeah, it's strictly medical.
Yes.
All right, here's the headline again. The flu is spreading swiftly among children in Korea, with a KDCA survey showing that the number of outpatients in the week from October 26th to November 1st jumped nearly 68% from the previous week. Let's move on.
Nearly 6.5 million foreign nationals visited Korea in the first 9 months of the year, with monthly arrivals exceeding 800,000 for 3 straight months for the first time since records began.
올해 1월부터 9월까지 우리나라를 방문한 외국인 관광객이 650만 명에 육박했으며 월간 입국자 수의 경우 집계 이래 처음으로 3개월 연속 80만 명대를 상회한 것으로 나타났습니다. I noticed you said 6.5 million people.
Yeah.
So there are several ways of saying this. You could just say 6.5 million or 6,500,000.
Sure. I knew you'd point this out, but you know, I changed it when I spoke 6.5 because it just seems more casual, more conversational.
I love that you did that.
You know, the number itself is 6.5. It means the same thing.
Yeah, in Korea, we don't say 반 when we're talking about big numbers like this. But in English, we say half.
Yeah.
그래서 6.5라는 단어가 들어가 있잖아요, 영어에서. 이거를 6.5라고 그대로 읽어도 되지만 6 and a half 라고 해도 됩니다. So 6.5 million, 650만.
Yeah, so for the listener, 6.5 million sounds, it's easier to listen to. When you say
in English.
6.5, it becomes very mathematical and very number-centered.
It's just the English way of saying it.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us more then.
Yeah, sure. So this is data from the Immigration Service, from the government. And if you thought that there are many tourists visiting Korea, you're probably correct because between January and September, you had 6.5 million people come on B2 visas. These are tourist visas. And if you look at the month-to-month breakdown, every month we've seen at least 500,000. Back in January, where the number was the lowest, it was still 510,000. But between July and September, that number exceeded 800,000. So
when did Kendaeon come out?
That's
Earlier
a good
this
question.
year?
I think it was around June. So
okay.
So it was early summer. So maybe that had an effect on that.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
But if you look at the numbers, again, we're still talking post-COVID. Pre-COVID, the total annual number of visitors was at around 7.15. It dipped down to 115,000. So
I see.
Very low in 2021. Last year, a record was set at 7.55 million. And right now, at this current pace, it seems like 2025 is going to be another record-setting year.
그래요. 외국인 관광객 계속해서 늘고는 있습니다만은 이제 보니까 캐데온이 6월 달에 나왔었군요. 네. 아마 그 이후로도 더 많이 좀 영향을 받아서 늘지 않았을까 싶기도 한데 지금 보면은 3개월 연속 80만 명대를 기록한 게 이번이 처음이에요. 계속해서 입국자 수가 이렇게 늘고 있는 모습입니다. Yeah, I went to 경복궁 or the vicinity a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
And every single time it felt like more tourists were around there in their hanboks and, you know, taking pictures, going to cafes. It was just really nice to see.
Yeah. So your unscientific survey really is backed up by this actual data from the Immigration Service.
True. What's a foreign national, Shane?
Yeah, a foreign national is a person who's not a citizen or possibly a permanent resident of the country they're currently in. And you're talking about citizenship here, right? And we often use this term in a legal or immigration or government context. It's because it sounds very official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a Korean national.
Yep.
That means I have Korean citizenship.
Correct.
If you are a British national or an Australian national, that means you have that country's citizenship.
Sure.
자, foreign national이라고 하면요. 여기서 national이라는 거는 사람을 말하는데 그런 국적이 있는 사람입니다. 그래서 외국 국적인 사람. Foreigner랑은 어떤 뉘앙스 차이가 있을까요? Foreigner and foreign national.
Yeah, that's a very good question because a foreigner just seems someone that sounds like someone that's just completely on the outside.
그냥 외부인 같은 느낌. 물론 외국인이지만 foreign이란 단어 자체는요. 저기 이방인 이런 느낌인 거죠.
Right. But foreign national gives you that official sort of context.
Sure.
Like I said, in an legal or an immigration sort of context, background,
맞아요.
right?
네. 그래서 foreigner는 그냥 일반적으로 우리가 외국인 할 때 쓰는 단어라면은 조금 더 테크니컬하게 foreign national, 외국 국적자가 되겠고요.
Yeah, if you wanted to avoid the use of the word foreigner, you can maybe say foreign visitor.
Sure.
A visitor sounds a little more welcoming to
Sure.
people who are not nationals here in Korea.
Okay, and what's a monthly arrival?
Yeah, so monthly arrival in this context, we're talking tourism data, right? So it just is the number of visitors who entered the country during a specific time period, in this case, on a monthly basis.
월간 arrival이라는 건 여기서 입국자 수예요. So 월간 입국자 수. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Nearly 6.5 or 6.5 million foreign nationals visited Korea in the first 9 months of the year, with monthly arrivals exceeding 800,000 for 3 straight months for the first time since records began.
APT, the blockbuster collaboration between Blackpink's Rosé and Bruno Mars, and Golden from the Netflix animated hit K-pop Demon Hunters, have been nominated in major categories, including Song of the Year for next year's Grammy Awards.
그룹 블랙핑크의 로제와 브루노 마스가 만나 화제가 됐던 히트곡 아파트와 넷플릭스 인기 애니메이션 K-pop 데몬 헌터스에 쓰인 노래 골든이 내년에 열리는 그래미 어워즈에서 올해의 노래를 비롯한 다수의 주요 부문 후보에 올랐습니다. Good news for Korea.
Yeah, it's been a great year for Korean and ethnic Korean artists, and the Grammy Awards, of course, are the epitome, the pinnacle for sound recording. And for the first time, we've seen not just one but 2 Korea-related artists nominated in one of these major categories.
Yeah.
Something that even BTS was never even able to do,
right?
let alone win, right? Because APT, Rosé's song, was nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Duo Group Performance. So a total of 3 nominations. And Golden, the song, was nominated in 5 categories, including Song of the Year and also Best Pop Duo Group Performance. So they're going up against each other in 2 categories there. And, you know, if you're familiar with the Grammys, there are these sort of major categories, which we'll get to in a moment. But the winners will be announced on February 1st when the Grammy Awards are held in Los Angeles.
내년 2월 달에 그래미 시상식이 열립니다. 지금 후보로 아파트, 로제와 브루노 마스의 아파트, 그 다음에 Golden이 같은 Song of the Year 카테고리에 올랐고요. 그 외에도 이제 많은 카테고리에 각각 올랐는데 아파트 같은 이 노래는 이제 로제가 직접 영어로 설명할 때도 This song is called APT 이렇게 capitalized 돼서 APT 이렇게 발음을 하기도 하기 때문에 영어로는 APT라고 부르셔도 되고 아파트라고 부르셔도 돼요.
Yeah, because obviously an English speaker, if you don't know, 아파트 is a Korean word, right?
Yeah, it is a Korean word, yeah.
So if you look at this, and the fact that it's capitalized makes it look like an abbreviation or an acronym, right? So the natural instinct is to read it as APT, I think, and that's the importance of capitalization in English.
That's right. Let's have a look at to be nominated.
Yeah, if you're nominated for something, it means you're selected, right? You've been chosen as for a position or an award or an honor, or as a candidate for something, for an elected office, for example.
후보로 선정됐을 때 be nominated. And what's a major category?
Yeah, so in this case, we're talking about the Grammys. You have the Oscars as well, but there are 6 major categories, I think, for the Grammys. You have Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Best New Artist, and the other 2 I wasn't familiar with, but Producer of the Year and Songwriter of the Year. So these are the big ones on if you watch the live telecast, these are the ones that'll show a lot of the unmajor or minor categories. I don't know how a Grammy could be a minor, but oftentimes they're not even televised and they're given out in advance.
그렇죠. 굉장히 많은 부문이 있는데 그중에서 주요 부문을 major categories.
Yes. And I had to look this up. Do you know the difference between Song of the Year and Record of the Year is?
A song would be one specific song, I guess, and record is like an album?
But what about Album of the Year then?
Actually,
There's also
you're right.
Album of the Year.
What's the difference?
If I can explain, Album of the Year is talking about the entire album, so the compilation of songs. Record of the Year is given to the songwriter, and did I get that right? Or songwriter is given to the performer. So there's a difference there.
Song of the Year is given to the performer.
Okay, I had it opposite then. Yes.
No, is it? I'm asking
Record
you.
of the Year is for the performer, and Song of the Year is for the songwriter.
Is it?
Yes.
Our writer says record of the year is for the production
of it.
stuff. Okay.
Okay. Song is for the songwriter.
And the song of the year is for the songwriter.
So does the performer not get an award for this then? Okay. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah. It's a big award nonetheless for K-music.
It's a big honor.
자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. APT or 아파트, the blockbuster collaboration between Blackpink's Rosé and Bruno Mars, and Golden from the Netflix animated hit K-pop Demon Hunters have been nominated in major categories, including Song of the Year for next year's Grammy Awards. Let's move on.
A study by travel insurance experts has ranked Bangkok as the world's #1 city for pickpocketing and scams among 50 major tourist destinations.
한 여행 보험 전문 웹사이트의 조사에서 세계 50개 주요 관광 도시들 중 태국 방콕이 소매치기와 사기 피해가 가장 심각한 곳으로 선정됐습니다. Oh dear.
Yes. So this was a study by, like I said, travel insurance experts. And what they did was they ranked traveler reviews, talking about thefts, scams, safety concerns. And Bangkok topped that list. And within Bangkok, when we talk about the Grand Palace, which is a major tourist destination where the historic king of Siam used to live there, that's probably, according to this study, the single worst attraction globally based on the frequency of pickpockets and scams mentioned in reviews. Asia and Europe dominated the list with Paris and Prague following Bangkok. So, my personal experience, I'm pretty surprised because I've always thought that European cities were more prominent for pickpocketers, but Bangkok, which I've frequented numerous times, surprisingly is on the top of the list.
그래요. 방콕, 그다음에 이제 파리, 그리고 다음에 프라하라 그랬나요? 이런 순으로 소매치기 또 사기가 굉장히 많다라는 것은 이제 리뷰를 가지고 서베이를 한 겁니다. 자, 표현 볼게요. 소매치기, 영어로 pickpocketing.
Yeah, so one word, to pick someone's pocket is a pickpocketer. It's stealing someone's money, wallet, any sort of valuables or possessions from their pocket or bag without them noticing, and usually just in public places.
Exactly, pickpocketing. What about a tourist destination?
Yeah, just like it says, a place that attracts visitors, right? Just for its beauty, its attractiveness, I suppose. When we're talking about cities, landmarks, parks, regions, anything that is very attractive to go to.
그렇죠. tourist destination 관광지라는 뜻이죠. destination이 목적지인데 이 destination이 또 어떻게 특이하게 쓰이는 경우가 있냐면은 destination wedding이라고 해서 그때는 일부러 뭐 비행기를 탄다든지 굉장히 먼 곳에 가서 결혼식을 할 때 destination weddings. So for example, if someone got married in Hawaii or I don't know, Guam or something, then that would definitely be a destination wedding. It's not like just taking the bus or driving to a location.
Right. You get the sense that you have to take, in Korea at least, you have to take a plane or somewhere far away.
Far away.
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't know how far away it has to be, but usually it's a third party location. It's a third location that where maybe the bride and groom don't have any connection with in terms of living, but maybe it's just a place they want to have their ceremony held.
맞아요. 그럴 때도 이 destination이라는 단어를 쓰니까 꼭 목적지가 아니더라도 좀 다양하게 해석을 할 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A study by travel insurance experts has ranked Bangkok as the world's #1 city for pickpocketing and scams among 50 major tourist destinations. Here's our final headline.
Researchers have found that prolonged use of melatonin for sleep disturbances or insomnia is associated with a 90% increased risk of heart failure diagnosis, heart failure hospitalization, and mortality over 5 years.
수면장애나 불면증 치료를 위해 멜라토닌 보충제를 장기 복용한 환자는 그렇지 않은 사람에 비해서 5년 이내에 신부전 발생과 입원 및 사망 위험이 90% 높아진다는 연구 결과가 발표됐습니다. Now we have to take this with a grain of salt because it's not a cause and effect study. No. This does not mean that if you take these melatonin supplements then, immediately these negative effects will happen. That's not what it means. It's just that this study shows that there is a connection.
Right.
It's different.
There's a link.
There's a link.
But not causation.
That's right.
Which is a big difference.
맞아요. 이런 이제 과학 연구 결과가 나왔을 때 인과관계인지 아니면은 그냥 연관성이 있는 것인지 굉장히 다르기 때문에 구별해야 되고요. 지금은 연관성이 있다 정도입니다.
Right.
네, 이렇게 멜라토닌 보충제를 섭취한 사람들의 경우 이런 결과가 있더라. 그래서 연관성에 대한 데이터 분석입니다.
Which means that probably more research and experimentation
맞아요.
needs to occur to see if there is a causation between the two. Right?
왜냐하면은 여기에 고려되지 않은 게 너무나 많거든요.
Yeah.
멜라토닌 보충제를 복용하는 사람들이 운동은 얼마나 하는지, 식습관은 어떤지, 평소에 건강이 어떤지 이런 것들 하나도 고려되지 않은 상황이기 때문에 그런 것들이 또 어떤 요인이 될 수 있는데요. 그거는 지금 다 제쳐두고 그다음에 일단은 데이터만 놓고 봤을 때 신부전 발생 위험이 굉장히 높더라. 이렇게 결과를 낸 겁니다.
Yeah, because melatonin, I think a lot of people are suffering from sleep disorders like insomnia, I think with increased stress, just modern day life. But it's naturally a hormone that's produced
맞아요.
in the body, right?
그래서 영어 기사 원문에 보면은 굉장히 강조를 하고 있는 부분이 뭐냐면 it says that this does not mean that melatonin supplements lead to 아까 뭐였죠? Heart failure.
Or mortality.
그러니까요.
Right.
이거는 이 결과를 낳는다라는 것이 아니라는 거를 이 기사에서 굉장히 강조를 하더라고요.
Yeah.
네.
I think the important thing is to obviously consult a physician or a doctor when you're taking these supplements, because I believe melatonin is available over the counter.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not
And
prescription
anything in
based.
moderation, I think, is fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, because melatonin, like I said, it's produced naturally in the body, but it's being used more and more to treat things like insomnia, people
Sure.
having trouble falling asleep. But like I said, just be careful when you use these sort of supplements.
All right. Now we're looking at the prolonged use of something.
Yeah, when something's used continuously or repeatedly over an extended period of time, we say something's prolonged. It's extended,
Yeah.
right?
장기간 복용하는 것을 prolonged use of something. 뭐 복용이 꼭 아니더라도요. 무언가 사용할 때
Yeah.
the prolonged use of something.
Right, and you're using it too much. There's
Yeah.
that negative kind of thing, like smartphones. The prolonged use of smartphones will cause you to have a bad posture or something. Right?
technic.
Yeah.
To be associated with something.
Yeah, it means simply you're connected or related or linked to something. There could be a personal connection, or in professional relationships, you're associated with someone.
그렇죠. 그래서 관련이 있다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. So I guess it's kind of similar to sort of saying if you don't sleep well, you're likely to be overweight. That doesn't mean not sleeping makes you fat.
Right.
Normally, if you don't sleep well, you have cravings. If you have cravings, maybe you'll snack at night.
Right.
And if you snack at night, then you'll get overweight. So there's all sorts of things in between.
Yeah, that's a circular argument. Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
Or is it like all fingers are thumbs, but not all thumbs are fingers?
I'm not sure. But I'm trying to say there's an association.
Yes.
네, 관련이 있다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Researchers have found that the prolonged use of melatonin for sleep disturbances or insomnia is associated with a 90% increased risk of heart failure diagnosis, heart failure hospitalization, and mortality over 5 years. All right, well, that's it for our 5 headlines this morning.
More than 200 cases of the tick-borne illness, SFTS, have been reported so far this year, marking the highest number since 2020, according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency.
질병관리청 감염병 포털 집계 결과 진드기가 옮기는 감염병인 중증 열성 혈소판 감소 증후군 SFTS 환자 수가 올해 들어 200명을 훌쩍 넘기면서 2020년 이후 가장 많은 수준을 기록하고 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. Alright, so SFTS.
Yes, severe fever with thrombocytopenia syndrome. is the very long name for
I
it, hence
see.
the acronym.
Okay.
Basically what it is when you have a low platelet count in your blood. And platelets, they're the little things that run about your blood and they clot it.
Yeah.
So they stop you from bleeding too much.
혈소판 platelets.
Yes.
Okay.
So the issue is well, we've had more cases this year than last year. Last year we had 170. This year so far we're at 220. 2020 we had 243. So we're almost getting up to that number. And it's the highest we've had since then.
What are the symptoms?
Well, first of all, you get bitten by a tick. That's how you get it.
Okay,
Once you get bitten, it's going to take about 2 weeks or so for symptoms to appear.
It's not immediate.
No, it may take a little time. So the symptoms are you get a high fever, you may have nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. However, if it is a severe case, a very serious case, you can get these low platelet counts, also low white blood cell counts. And in some cases, sadly, that does result in death.
Oh my goodness.
It's a serious disease. It was officially designated as a communicable disease in 2013, and it can actually be transmitted as a secondary infection in very rare cases as well. So I think Korea is being very careful about this and taking note of it, but also it's a good warning for all of us. I mean, now we're all wearing long trousers and socks, but still, if we're in wooded areas and areas with long grass, we should be careful that we should look out for ticks. And if we do spot them, get them off you as soon as possible.
진드기, ticks. That's how the virus is transmitted in the first place. Is it a virus? Or
it's an illness.
disease?
A disease and illness,
right.
I think, is I can't confirm whether it's a virus or not.
Okay, so the disease, the illness, is transmitted through a tick, 진드기를 통해서 감염이 되고요. And let's just go over each of the symptoms one by one, because I think this is really important to know how to express these things, because we can all get sick. And you need to be able to say it in English just in case.
Well, the main symptoms are also symptoms you get for many other diseases.
Yes,
so they're
that's
very
right.
good terms to know.
Yes.
The first one is high fever.
고열.
Yeah, we don't say someone has a low fever. We only use it as a high fever, and that's when your temperature is above normal.
That's right.
The second one is nausea.
구토 증상이죠.
So when you're feeling sick, you're feeling as if you're going to vomit.
그러니까 구토를 하는 게 아니고요. 메스꺼운 겁니다. nausea.
Because it's good to differentiate that with vomiting, which is actually throwing up.
그러네요. 구토하는 건 vomiting, nausea는 그 느낌, 그 메스꺼운 느낌.
Yeah, so for example, if I go on a boat, it's usual that I feel nauseous.
Yeah, the smaller the boat,
the
the more
nauseous I will feel.
Yeah.
And there, I don't necessarily throw up, but I have that feeling inside me.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is also a common and not very nice one, is diarrhea. When you can't stop going to the toilet.
이건 설사거든요. For some reason, kids love this word and they get a few giggles out of it. They think it's very, very funny.
Very funny, but also difficult to spell.
Oh, very difficult to spell, actually. I always have to double check.
Well, if you double check, always check for the double R. That's the big clue. D-I-A-R-R-H-E-A.
네. diarrhea, 요게 이제 설사인데요. 스펠링이 좀 어렵죠. 이런 증상들이 나타난다고 합니다. Let's go back to it being tick-borne.
Yes.
And that's our first expression for this headline.
Yeah, when we have a suffix of borne, and this is B-O-R-N-E, it means it is carried by whatever it is attached to. So in this case, tick-borne, meaning this illness is carried by the tick. Airborne, meaning it's carried by the air. Waterborne, carried by the water, and so on and so forth.
그래요. 무엇에 의해서 전염이 된다라는 의미로 뒤에다가 borne을 붙이는데요. B-O-R-N-E 까지. So airborne diseases 이런 표현도 우리가 예전에 뉴스에서 많이 봤는데 대기 중에 공기 중에 이렇게 감염이 된다. 이렇게 뭐 재채기를 한다든지 비말을 통해서 뭔가가 전해질 때 그렇게 표현하죠. 여기서는 tick-borne.
Yes, and if you're carried by Matt Damon playing a spy, you'll be Jason-borne.
Right, the Bourne Ultimate, was it?
Bourne Identity, the Bourne Legacy, the Bourne Ultimatum.
그래요. 그런 영화 시리즈 있었죠. 상관은 없지만 다 같은 단어입니다. What about this? SFTS. You gave us the long version earlier on. I can't remember it.
No, and to be honest, I think if you remember the acronym, that's going to be easier and more useful because very often in cases like this, like with other diseases, we just remember the acronym.
No one's actually going to say the full name, right?
Unless you're a doctor, you don't need to memorize this.
Okay.
So it's severe fever with thrombocytopenia syndrome. So that's the full name, but SFTS is all you need to remember.
I know the other three words, but thrombocytopenia is an unfamiliar one to me.
This is when we're dealing with the platelets. So again, we have white blood cells, which are your guards. They're security guards. They'll go around beating up all the viruses and so on.
백혈구.
Then you've got your red blood cells, which is carrying around the oxygen and basically doing the manual labor. And then you have the platelets, and the platelets are like the paramedics, the emergency team. So whenever you have an issue like you're bleeding or bruising, they come in and they clot the blood. So they stop the blood from being so liquid, they make it thicker. So you're safer. But the issue with this is thrombocytopenia is when you have a low platelet count. You don't have enough platelets in your body.
그래요. 혈소판 수치 감소라는 뜻인데 의학 용어이기 때문에 우리가 일상생활 속에서 알 필요는 없습니다만 여기서 이제 SFTS라는 요 약자만 기억하시면 돼요. Severe fever, 고열이 있고 with thrombocytopenia syndrome, 혈소판 수치가 감소하는 증상이 동반된다라는 뜻이네요. 네, 우리말로는 뭐였냐면은 아까 중증, 열성, 혈소판 감소 증후군이 되겠습니다.
That's another mouthful too.
그러니까 이것도 마찬가지로 우리도 SFTS라고 하면 되겠죠. I'm going to read this one more time. More than 200 cases of the tick-borne illness SFTS have been reported so far this year, marking the highest number since 2020, according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. Let's move on to the next headline.
The National Post Office will temporarily suspend deliveries during periods of severe cold or heavy snowfall under a policy implemented to protect its workers, which will remain in effect until the end of February.
우정사업본부는 내년 2월 말까지를 겨울철 안전보건 특별관리기간으로 지정하면서 이 기간 동안 폭설이나 한파가 닥쳤을 경우 배달 업무를 일시 중단시켜 우정사업 종사원의 안전을 지킨다는 방침입니다.
It may mean that we get some of our parcels or packages a little later than we want, but it's fine because health and safety first.
Of course.
It's a really good thing to make sure that our delivery workers are being safe. And so we will be notified. If there is any kind of delay, or if there's going to be a pause in deliveries, then there will be notifications. But what the post office is always also doing is providing heated rest areas. They're going to make sure that their employees are in good health every day. They're also going to spend 770 million won on various pieces of protective gear. So we're going to have hand warmers for them, neck warmers and masks. And that's an increase in their budget by about 130 million won. They're also going to advise their workers to check themselves every day and look out for symptoms that might be signs of possible stroke or heart attack that's cold related. So they're just taking extra precautions to make sure that everybody is safe as they're doing their deliveries.
It's so important to make sure that the delivery people are safe. Having said that, I don't think people use postal services as much as before, but they still do for whatever reason. Documents, letters.
Overseas parcels.
Overseas parcels, yes, so sure. So whatever it is, if you are using the post office and it snows a lot, then please be aware that it may take a few more days, but that's for the safety of the delivery people.
Yeah, and one would hope that other delivery services would follow in the post office's steps to offer their delivery workers a lot of safety and security.
맞아요. 자, 배달하는 거를 delivery라고 하는데요. 그걸 이제 좀 보류한다라는 의미로 to suspend deliveries. Suspending이라는 표현 볼까요?
Yes, if we suspend something, literally we hang it in the air.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
In this meaning, we're temporarily pausing it. We're not putting a full stop on it. It's going to start again. But for the moment, we're temporarily stopping. We're pausing. I was actually wearing suspenders on Saturday. for a video shoot.
Oh, okay.
The American term suspenders, which hold your trousers up.
Right,
They're those elastic bands that go over your shoulders. In the UK, suspenders are what keep your stockings up.
It's a bit different.
Yes.
그래요. 자, 선생님이 주말에 멜빵 바지를 입고 공연을 하셨군요.
공연 말고 비디오요.
아, 그래요. 공연 말고 비디오. 근데 이제 그 멜빵이 미국에서 서스펜더예요.
네.
서스펜딩이라는 것 자체가 이렇게 위로 든다라는 의미가 있거든요. 자, 그러나 여기서 말하는 suspending은 일시적으로 중단한다는 뜻입니다. So deliveries will be suspended if there's heavy snow. I think we all understand this.
Oh, yeah, I think, and it's the safest thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way, if there was flooding, you would not expect anybody to be driving to your
Of course
house.
not. And this is going to remain in effect until the end of February because, you know, it can snow until the end of February.
Absolutely. And if something remains in effect, means it's already going and it's going to keep going.
Yeah.
Normally, when we use remain in effect until, or by, or we're using something where there will be a date, a time specified
Sure.
of when it will stop.
아, 그래요. 언제까지 유효할 것이다. It will not rain. It will remain in effect until 언제. remain이라는 게 남는다라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 수학에서 우리 나눗셈 하고 나서 나머지 할 때 그게 이제 remainder거든요. 나머지 그렇게 R라고 표시하죠. remainder인데 남는다. 그러니까 remain in effect는 효력이 남는다. 즉 효력이 언제까지 유지가 된다.
네.
다시 읽어보겠습니다. The National Post Office will temporarily suspend deliveries during periods of severe cold or heavy snowfall under a policy implemented to protect its workers, which will remain in effect until the end of February.
Typhoon Fungwong has battered Luzon, the Philippines' most populous island, prompting the preemptive evacuation of some 1.4 million people just days after Typhoon Kalmegi left nearly 200 dead.
필리핀에서 태풍 갈매기로 인해 200여 명의 사망자가 나온 지 불과 며칠 만에 태풍 풍웡이 필리핀에서 가장 인구가 많은 루손 섬을 강타해 약 140만 명이 대피했습니다. Oh dear.
Yeah, one on top of the other. This is a very trying time for the Philippines. Yes, this super typhoon was winds of 185 kilometers an hour, with gusts getting up to 230 kilometers an hour. 2 people died, as far as we know. And that was just days after 200 died during Storm Kalmegi. It doesn't seem to be as severe as they worried, but there are areas that are cut off by floods. It's going to take time for the island to recover. They had declared a state of calamity in preparation for it. And that means they've been able to access emergency funds and able to fast-track emergency goods and services. Kalmegi was one of the strongest typhoons we've had so far this year. At least 204 people dead in the Philippines. More than 100 are missing. It's a very serious thing, and thank goodness those 2 storms are past us, and hopefully it will be more peaceful there for the coming weeks.
지금 필리핀이 상당히 힘든 시기를 겪고 있습니다. It's a trying time for the Philippines right now. You mentioned earlier on that there are winds of 185 kilometers an hour and gusts of 230 kilometers an hour. Is there a difference between wind and gust?
Well, gust is a sudden burst of wind.
Oh, I see.
So when we talk about the winds, that's looking at the average speed of the winds, whereas gusts are when you have a sudden burst
Stronger.
of speed.
I see. Got it. Okay, well, Luzon is the most populous island. Let's have a look at populous.
Yes. When I was a kid, there was a video game called Populous. This is like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was all about the number of people, the population, as you created your own special world. And Populous is all about the number of people. It's a large number of people. So if we say this area, this city, this island, this country is populous, means there are lots of people there.
네, 인구가 많다. Populous. 이게 popular랑은 좀 다른 거겠죠. 이 popular는 인기가 많은 건데 populous는 인구가 많은 거고요. What about
And I'll do it now if you like.
What? What? The song?
You want me to explain the term preemptive, don't you?
Oh, you stepped in a little bit too soon, don't you think?
I wanted to preempt you. I was taking preemptive action.
You definitely did that. What is preemptive action and what is preemptive?
You do something before it happens.
Aha.
So it's a preemptive something. So in this case, a preemptive answer to Sue's expected question.
Yes.
I knew Sue was going to ask me about this term, and I very rudely preempted her. I'm sorry, Sue. I apologize.
이렇게 갑자기 뛰어들었잖아요, 선생님이. 그래서 preemptive action을 취했는데
Yeah.
선제적인이라는 뜻의 preemptive입니다.
Yes, so we talk about preemptive measures, for example. If we know something is going to happen, for example, at the moment, there are a lot of marathons in my neighborhood, lots of races, because I live near World Cup Stadium.
Yeah.
And there are always preemptive measures. So the government will have workers lining the roads, they'll put out barriers and they'll put out signs all before it happens.
그렇죠. 사전에 여러 가지 안전 조치를 취하죠. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Typhoon Fengwang has battered Luzon, the Philippines' most populous island, prompting the preemptive evacuation of some 1.4 million people just days after Typhoon Galmegi left nearly 200 dead. Let's move on to the next headline.
A hoard of 70 Tudor coins unearthed in a UK garden during the country's first COVID-19 lockdown in 2020 has sold at auction for just over £380,000, or 700 million won.
지난 코로나19 봉쇄 조치 기간에 영국의 한 주택 정원에서 발견된 튜더 시대의 금화 70개가 최근 경매에서 38만 파운드, 우리 돈으로 7억 원이 넘는 금액에 판매됐습니다. Well, did they strike it lucky? I mean, it's like winning the lottery, really, isn't it?
It is. It's called the New Forest Hoard, and it was dug up in a flower bed by a family in April 2020 in Hampshire. They found at first 64 coins, all but one of them gold, the other one silver, and then they found another 6. It was deemed as treasure, and of course it went to the British Museum first, but no museum was in a position to acquire the coins, so they were allowed to put it up for auction. And, well, it went for a huge amount of money.
Yeah. The Tudor period, are we referring to the 15th century and 16th century around that time?
Yes, we're talking about Henry VI, Henry VII, Henry VIII.
자, 15세기에서 16세기 정도쯤의 그런 동전들. 튜더 시대 금화 70개가 이제 코로나 시대에 어떤 가정의 뒷마당에서 발견이 됐습니다. 거의 복권 당첨이라고 볼 수 있을 정도로 이번에 경매에 붙여져서 판매가 됐고요. 우리 돈으로 7억 원이 넘는 금액인데 여기다가 또 이제 각종 수수료와 이런 것들이 붙게 되면 한 9억 원 정도가 된다고 합니다. 상당한 금액이죠. Let's have a look at during lockdown.
Oh, thank goodness we don't have any lockdowns at the moment. But back during COVID times, the UK underwent a number of lockdowns.
Yeah.
And a lockdown is where, well, you aren't allowed to leave your house or your room or your cell if you're in prison for a specific period of time, or you're only allowed to leave at certain times. So nowadays, prison lockdowns, I think, is the term we would most commonly hear in the news, referring to if there's an accident in the prison or a riot, then there's a lockdown. Nobody can leave their cell.
Right.
But during COVID, we had that where we had to stay in our apartment or in our house.
Yeah, many countries in Europe had lockdowns, many cities in America as well. I believe China had a nationwide lockdown too. So we heard this term quite a lot during COVID. Lockdown, 봉쇄 조치가 되겠죠. 이제 통행 금지가 될 수도 있겠고요. And for just over £380,000 is how much these coins were sold at auction.
Yes, when we use for just over, it's going to be about a number. So it could be a financial amount, it could be a height, it could be a length, it could be whatever it is. But the point is, it's going to be a little more than that. So we're saying that we usually pick a round number here.
Yeah.
So a number with a 0 at the end. And it's a little bit higher. So instead of 1,000, it's 1,001 or 1,002, 1,003.
Yeah, exactly. 그러니까 이 숫자를 살짝 상회한다, 살짝 요거보다 높다라는 뜻이에요. 영어로 just over something 이렇게 쓰는데 for 얼마 하면은 얼마에 팔렸다 이런 의미가 있으니까요. So these coins were sold at auction for just over £380,000. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A hoard of 70 Tudor coins unearthed in a UK garden during the country's first COVID-19 lockdown in 2020 has sold at auction for just over £380,000 or 700 million won. Let's move on to the final headline.
Rising air pollution levels in India have sparked a worsening public health crisis, prompting hundreds of people, including parents and environmental activists, to stage a rare protest in New Delhi, demanding government action.
인도의 대기오염 수준이 심각해지면서 공중보건 위기 수준이 악화되자 뉴델리에서 환경운동가와 부모 등 시민 수백 명이 거리로 나와 정부 대책을 촉구하는 시위를 벌이는 드문 장면이 목격됐습니다. What's going on?
Well, New Delhi is the most polluted capital city in the world. In fact, India has 6 of the top 10 most polluted cities. And winter is a very bad time for air quality there. Farmers are burning the crop residue, the excess hay or stalks. Cooler temperatures then trap that smoke, and then it's all mixed in with the factories and the cars and the buses and all the rest of it. And the thing is, Delhi's winters are dry and there's not a lot of wind, which means these toxic particles, all these horrible things stay there. And people have had enough of it. So we had protesters outside. There was one that carried a placard saying, "I miss breathing," because it's causing lots of health problems. There are residents who are suffering from headaches, from persistent coughs, and they want the government to do something. It seems like the government has not taken enough action, at least in the eyes of the public, and they've had enough.
Exactly. To have enough. 이 표현도 굉장히 유용한 표현인데요. I've had enough means I don't want to do this or I don't want to go through this anymore.
Yeah.
이제 나 더 이상 못 참겠어 라는 뜻이에요. I've had enough. So you could say that's enough or I've had enough of, I've had enough of you doing something.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be.
Or I've had enough ice cream. I don't need any more.
Well, yeah. You can use it for food as well, as you said. But in this case, the people have had enough of the bad air quality.
Exactly.
And some people, you said, have been experiencing persistent coughs.
Yes.
So a cough is a 기침, and a persistent cough is you keep coughing.
Exactly.
It won't go away.
Yeah, and if you keep on coughing, persistent would turn into chronic.
Yeah.
Chronic is a word we use for a medical condition where it just keeps going and going and going.
그렇죠. 계속해서 기침이 나오는 persistent cough가 된다면은 나중에는 또 만성 기침, chronic cough가 될 수도 있겠죠. All right, so everything that we mentioned here has sparked a health crisis in India.
And if something sparks something else, it starts it as if it's like starting a fire.
Yeah.
So it's starting something that's going to get very big very quickly, perhaps. But it just means it kicks it off. It causes it. It lets it begin.
To spark. It's a verb here. 그래서 이게 불빛 아니면은 이제 보통 뭘까요? When you make a fire, that spark. It's not the kind of light we have in our rooms and the fluorescent lights or whatever. It's fire, right?
Yeah, it's like when you hit rock with metal, you get a spark.
그렇죠. 그래서 이게 약간의 그 불. 계속 불빛이라 그러면은 우리가 생각하는 천장에 있는 불빛이랑 헷갈릴 수 있는데 그런 불빛 말고요. 이게 실제로 불 활활 타오르기 전에 발생하는 요 불 그런 것이 스파크인데 촉발시키다라는 동사로 쓸 수 있는 것입니다. What about to stage a protest?
Well, to stage anything means you put it on. I mean, you could literally stage something on stage, but it doesn't have to be that. It means you're putting it on somewhere. So you're creating it, you're organizing it with a protest. You all get together and you wave flags or signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stage a protest는 시위를 벌이다라는 뜻으로 stage is a verb as you can see here. To stage anything means to show it, almost like a performance, but not really.
Yeah, it's to the public. It's making a point publicly.
That's a good point. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Rising air pollution levels in India have sparked a worsening public health crisis, prompting hundreds of people, including parents and environmental activists, to stage a rare protest in New Delhi, demanding government action. All right, well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.
Korea has approved an updated goal under the Paris Agreement on climate change to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 61% from pre-pandemic levels by the year 2035.
정부는 파리 기후변화 협정에 따라 온실가스 배출량을 2035년까지 팬데믹 이전 수준 대비 최대 61%까지 감축하기로 결정했습니다. Tell us more.
Right, so the government, they have approved a new emissions target under the Paris Agreement. So they've basically pledged to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 53 to 61% from 2018 levels by the year 2035. So this plan would reduce emissions to between 289.5 and 348.9 million tons. So Seoul plans to unveil this updated target at COP30 in Belém, Brazil later this month before formally submitting it to the UN. So as part of its climate roadmap, the government plans to launch a K-Green transition strategy by mid-2026, aiming to expand renewable energy capacity to 100 gigawatts by 2030 and adopt a distributed power grid. So the cabinet also approved a new cap and trade scheme for 2026 to 2030, cutting emissions allowances for major businesses by nearly 17% to 2.54 billion tons.
Korea is definitely making a concerted effort to help with the environment, as we can see here.
Yeah.
It says that the government has approved an updated goal.
Right. So if you approve something, it means you have officially agreed to do something or you have accepted something as satisfactory.
승인했다. 그래서 우리 정부가 무언가를 승인했다라고 했을 때 Korea has approved blah blah blah. Or the government has approved something. 이렇게 표현을 하는데요. 여기서 말하는 거는 Paris Agreement on Climate Change에 대한 업데이트된 목표. 요것에 대해서 우리나라가 동의를 하고 승인을 하고 우리도 이렇게 하겠다. 이런 얘기를 한 거죠. What about pre-pandemic levels?
Yeah, we hear this a lot because I feel like the world has changed a lot since before COVID-19 occurred and after I guess, we started getting or taking off the masks and after, I guess, the world kind of normalized when the virus started going away. So we use this term a lot to refer to the conditions or metrics or the rates that existed before the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it kind of serves as a baseline for comparison with data collected during and after the pandemic.
The prefix pre means before and the prefix post means after.
Right.
So pre-pandemic은 코로나 이전. post-pandemic는 코로나 이후가 되겠죠. 그래서 코로나 이전 수준은 pre-pandemic levels가 되겠습니다. One other thing I wanted to mention about approved. I don't know if you've watched this video online. There's this Italian guy, I think maybe two guys, and they watch people making pasta all around the world. They review
I know
it.
this one,
Yeah, and if they think it's okay, it's worthy of being calling pasta, they will always say approved. 인정해. 이거는 이탈리아식 파스타랑 비슷해. 뭐 이런 식으로 하는 그런 영상이 딱 떠오르더라고요. 그래서 approved가 우리가 공식적으로 쓸 때는 승인하다이지만 그냥 일반적으로 쓸 때는 인정해. 뭐 이런 의미가 될 수도 있어요. 이렇게 상황에 맞게 해석하시면 됩니다.
Yeah, like for some certain things you can get like a stamp of approval. Yeah. And that means it has passed certain criteria to meet certain standards.
Yeah. So if someone's going out with someone, and it's my friend going out with someone, and I think, this person's great. Yeah. You have my stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Or maybe not a friend, maybe a parent could say that. Or someone really close, they could say, I approve. I approve.
Yeah.
You have my stamp of approval.
That's okay. We allow you to date.
Because you care about that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea has approved an updated goal under the Paris Agreement on climate change to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 61% from pre-pandemic levels by the year 2035. Let's move on to the next headline.
All aircraft takeoffs and landings, as well as drone operations across the nation, will be temporarily suspended during the English listening portion of tomorrow's annual College Scholastic Ability Test, or 수능.
대학 수학 능력 시험이 실시되는 내일 영어 듣기 평가 시험 시간에 맞춰 전국 모든 항공기의 이착륙이 전면 통제되고 드론 비행도 금지될 예정입니다. Alright, so tell us more.
Yeah, so this happens every year.
Yep.
So the takeoffs, landings in the nation will be temporarily halted during the English listening section of the CSAT, or College Scholastic Ability Test, or 수능 as we call it. And the Ministry of Land Infrastructure and Transport said flights will be restricted between 1:05 p.m. and 1:40 p.m. in order to minimize noise disruptions. So the students will be able to take this listening test without hearing any other noise. And during that time, only emergency or urgent flights will be permitted, while aircraft already in the air must stay at least 3 kilometers above ground. The measure will impact around 140 flights nationwide, with airlines notifying passengers of schedule changes in advance. Drone and ultralight aircraft operations will also be banned during the test period.
그래요. 영어로 시간 얘기할 때는 반드시 AM이나 PM을 뒤에다가 얘기해야 됩니다. 그래서 내일 영어 듣기 평가가 실시되는 시간이요. 1:05 p.m. to 1:40 p.m.이 되겠습니다. 그러니까 오후 1시 5분에서 1시 40분 사이가 되겠죠. And during that time, as you said, flights will be suspended.
Yes.
그동안에는 이제 정말 조용한 상태에서 우리 수험생들이 영어 듣기 평가 시험을 볼 수 있을 것 같아요. Takeoffs and landings will be suspended.
Yeah, yeah. So takeoff is when the aircraft is transitioning from moving on the ground to flying, and landing is that final phase of a flight where the aircraft returns to the ground by reducing speed and altitude to touchdown and stop on a runway.
그래서 기내 방송에서도 이 두 단어를 들을 수 있죠.
Yes.
테이크오프는 이제
We are preparing for takeoff.
맞아요.
Yeah.
이륙할 때, 그리고 또 착륙할 때는 landing.
We are preparing for landing. Yes.
이렇게. 네, 그렇습니다. 이렇게
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
we're now preparing for landing. blah 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 이렇게 하겠죠. 자,
Please return to your seats.
그렇죠. Please keep your seatbelts fastened. 뭐 그런 식으로. 자, 그다음에 annual.
Yes, annual. So I mentioned this happens every single year. So if something happens every year, we say that it is annual.
annual은 이제 매해 한 번, 1년에 한 번 있다라는 뜻입니다. 1년에 2번 있으면은 biannual인가요?
Biannual can have two meanings. If
biennial하고 biannual하고 항상 좀 헷갈리더라고요.
Yeah, there is a difference. Because if it happens every 2 years, then we say biennial. Like that's why the biennale is called. That's a similar word for
그렇죠.
biennial.
그래요.
Yeah, yeah.
2년에 한 번씩일 때는 biennial.
Yeah, but I think I'll have to double check. But I think biannual can be used both ways.
그런가요?
Yeah,
오.
but I will have to double check.
네, 제가 알기로는 biennial with an E라고 하면은 2년에 한 번씩, 1년에 2번일 때는 biannual인 것 같아요. 네, 근데 어쨌든 annual이라는 것
Yes,
자체는
it means every year.
네,
Yeah.
1년에 한 번이라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 자, anniversary도 그런 식으로 보면은 어원이 똑같은가 봐요. 1년에 한 번 있는
Anniversary.
기념일.
Yes.
오케이. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. All aircraft takeoffs and landings, as well as drone operations across the nation, will be temporarily suspended during the English listening portion of tomorrow's annual College Scholastic Ability Test, or 수능.
The obesity rate among adults in the country has increased by 30% over the past decade, with 1/3 of the adult population considered medically obese last year, according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency.
질병관리청에 따르면 국내 성인 비만율이 지난 10년 새에 30% 증가한 가운데 작년에는 성인 3명 중 1명이 의학적 비만에 해당하는 것으로 나타났습니다. Now, I understand that the way we measure whether or not you're obese or overweight is a little bit different depending on country.
Yeah.
So in Korea, I guess we're a little bit stricter. And so someone who's considered overweight or obese in Korea might not be in, say, America
in other
or
countries.
in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, so the standards are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So this is according to the standards that they have set here,
Yes.
according to the KDCA or the Korea Disease Control Prevention Agency. But so they're looking at a 2023 survey of 230,000 adults nationwide, and it said that 34.4% had a body mass index or BMI index of 25 or higher, and that was up from 26.3% in 2015. And it noted that men showed significantly higher rates, 41.4% compared to 23% for women, with obesity most common among men in their 30s and 40s, while Korea's overall obesity rate of 36.5% remains about 20 percentage points below the OECD average. So I guess in a way, I guess we could say that it's not, comparatively, I guess, to other countries, it's not as high.
Yeah.
But the KDCA has urged continued monitoring and stronger health policies to curb the growing trend because they do say here in Korea that obesity leads to many other diseases.
it does, yeah.
So it's good to take preventative action.
So if your body mass index is over 25, that means you are medically obese. Okay. But as you said, Korea has less obese people compared to other OECD countries.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, if we just look at Korea, we're seeing more and more people entering that medically obese stage
Yeah.
or level.
Yeah.
그래요. 의학적으로 비만에 해당되는 성인이 우리나라에서 점점 늘고 있습니다. 물론 이제 OECD 다른 나라들에 비하면은 그렇게 높지 않다고는 합니다만 그래도 이제 우리나라만 놓고 봤을 때는 비만율이 비만인 사람들의 퍼센티지가 조금 더 늘고 있어요.
I don't know. I have some thoughts about this because a BMI of 25 is, you can easily reach a BMI of 25.
그러니까 사실은 전 세계적으로 봤을 때는 우리나라는 굉장히 날씬한 나라라는 이미지가 있고 거기에 속한다고 볼 수 있어요. 또 유럽 국가들 중에도 몇몇 국가들이 그런 나라들이 있거든요.
Yes.
또 이제 또 유럽 국가나 미국은 좀 몇몇 유럽 국가와 미국은 좀 비만 인구가 많다라는 또 그런 통념이 좀 있기도 한데.
Yeah. I think what you also have to start to look at is your 내장지방.
It's really important.
I guess the fat that's inside your body rather than just looking at your weight and your height.
그래요. 어쨌든 이제 데이터를 보게 되면은 this is over the past decade
Yes.
that more and more Koreans have become obese. What does this mean over the past decade?
Right. It's just another way to say over the past 10 years. So we're referring to the period of the last 10 years leading up to the present moment. So we're talking about that 10-year time frame. And it's used a lot, this expression, to discuss events or changes or trends that have occurred during that continuous period.
Over the past decade 그러면은 지난 10년 동안 이렇게 되겠죠. Decade. What about considered something?
So this is like, it's, I guess we have kind of omitted to be. So basically it's saying considered to be medically obese, but it's another way to say that. So it means regarded as or believed to be a certain way.
뭐뭐로 여겨진다. Someone is considered to be obese. Or you could say someone is considered
Healthy.
kind, healthy, happy,
Fit.
sad.
Yeah.
You could put any adjective.
Yes.
이렇게 여겨진다, 이렇게 생각이 된다. 그런 뜻이겠죠? 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The obesity rate among adults in the country has increased by 30% over the past decade, with 1/3 of the adult population considered medically obese last year, according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. Let's move on to the next headline.
Iran is facing an unprecedented drought with record low rainfall and nearly empty reservoirs, prompting officials to urge citizens to conserve water.
이란이 전례 없는 가뭄을 겪으면서 강수량이 사상 최저치를 기록하고 주요 댐의 저수율도 거의 바닥인 가운데 당국은 물 소비를 줄일 것을 시민들에게 촉구했습니다. What do we know?
Yes, so the president has warned that rationing may soon be required. So it's up to that state. It's a very serious, threatening sort of situation. And even evacuation could be considered if the situation worsens. Officials say rainfall has dropped by more than 90% compared to last year, with the Latian and Karaj dams holding less than 10% of capacity. Some neighborhoods are already experiencing long water outages, forcing residents to rely on bottled water. Authorities blame not only the drought, but also aging infrastructure and war damage for worsening shortages as major cities like Tehran and Mashhad face the risk of running dry.
Yeah, I read some articles that said that people in the country, they're now praying for rain.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the QJ, right?
Yes.
So that's how much they really want rain to fall because it's so dry right now.
It's something that, we really can't control. Right.
Exactly. Well, they're facing an unprecedented drought. 전례 없는 가뭄을 facing하고 있다.
Right.
What does that mean?
So when you're facing something, it means that you're confronting and dealing with or accepting a difficult or unpleasant task, situation, or a fact.
직면한다는 뜻이잖아요. 대면하다, 직면하다. 근데 여기서는 그런 상황이다라는 얘기입니다. 지금 이란이 그런 상황에 처해 있다. And so officials are urging citizens rather to conserve water.
Right. So it's another way to say that they are telling their people to try to save as much water as they can because they don't know how much they'll have. But it's telling them in a very strong way.
Yeah.
So you're trying earnestly or persistently to persuade someone to do something.
To urge someone to do something. 뭐뭐 할 것을 강하게 촉구하는 거죠. 이렇게 하는 것을 재촉한다라고 우리가 캐주얼하게 말할 수도 있겠고요. 이렇게 해달라. 간곡히 부탁할 때도 I urge you to do something 이라고 할 수도 있겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Iran is facing an unprecedented drought with record low rainfall and nearly empty reservoirs, prompting officials to urge citizens to conserve water. Now here's our final headline.
A US-based pharmaceutical company has developed a new, highly potent pill that can slash levels of dangerous LDL cholesterol to levels almost never seen in adults.
미국에 본사를 둔 한 제약회사가 나쁜 콜레스테롤로 불리는 LDL 수치를 성인에게서 이전에 거의 볼 수 없었던 수준까지 대거 낮춰주는 혁신적인 알약을 개발했습니다.
Yeah.
Okay.
A new development. So this is pharmaceutical giant Merck. And they say that they have developed this new pill. It's called enlicitide, and it dramatically lowers your LDL or bad cholesterol levels. That is a leading cause of heart disease. So this drug, it blocks a liver protein called PCSK9, and it cuts your LDL levels by up to 60% and potentially reduces heart attack and stroke risk by 20% within a year. So it's kind of revolutionary if you think about it, right?
But I understand it's also very expensive.
Probably, right.
Yeah.
So they say that it can run, they say that previously the PCSK9 injections used to run about $500 per month. But they say this pill, if it is developed, it will actually be much cheaper. They say that it will be priced affordably. So it might be a better alternative for people who are suffering from high cholesterol levels. So in a 24-week clinical trial, they say that the pill proved to be as effective as these injections that were very costly. So the FDA plans to approve it early next year, and they're planning on launching this pill in 2027. I'm kind of looking forward to this pill because I've already been tested and it seems my LDL cholesterol level is shooting up. So we will have to see whether this is available in Korea soon.
그래요. 우리가 이제 흔히 나쁜 콜레스테롤이라고 하는 LDL은요. Low density lipoprotein cholesterol. LDL 앞에 그 글자를 이제 줄인 거고 반대로 이제 HDL도 있죠. High density lipoprotein cholesterol. 그래서 지금 얘기하고 있는 LDL은 저밀도 콜레스테롤이라고도 하는데
It's bad for you.
네, 흔히는 그냥 나쁜 콜레스테롤
Yeah.
이렇게
You have to stop
부릅니다.
eating those like the chips.
Yeah,
snacks.
deep fried stuff.
Yeah.
All right. What's a pharmaceutical company?
A pharmaceutical company is a company that makes medicine. So they research, develop, manufacture, and distribute drugs and medicines for treating, preventing, or curing disease.
제약회사를 pharmaceutical company라고 해서요. 약국을 영어로 pharmacy라고도 해요. 물론 drugstore도 있지만 pharmacy 마찬가지입니다. 다 약국이고요. potent 하다 그러면 아주 강력하다
Yes.
이런 뜻이에요. 그런 강력한 알약이 지금 개발이 됐는데 so it reduces your LDL cholesterol levels to levels almost never seen before.
Right, right. So if almost never means very rarely or infrequently or hardly ever. So it's just another way to say scarcely ever or rarely or seldomly.
그렇죠. 거의 뭐뭐 하지 않는다라는 의미로 almost never라고 할 수 있겠죠. So I don't know. I might say I almost never
Drink coffee?
drink alcohol. I drink coffee a lot.
Okay.
Well, not a lot, but you know, maybe
Frequently.
1 cup a day.
1 cup a day.
Yeah, so that's not almost never. But alcohol, almost never because I'm not very alcohol tolerant, that's all. But I do like, you know, hanging out with people who drink alcohol. It's just that I don't drink it.
Almost
that's all.
never smoke.
I never smoke.
Yeah. Okay.
Not almost
God,
never.
These are not very good examples. Almost never. Let's see.
Well, you could say, I almost never get sick.
Yes. Almost never get sick.
Yeah.
We would like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This winter.
Exactly.
I hope you almost never get sick.
I normally almost never get sick, but right now and last week was the exception. All right, almost never. 거의 결코 뭐뭐 하지 않는다. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A US-based pharmaceutical company has developed a new, highly potent pill that can slash levels of dangerous LDL cholesterol to levels almost never seen in adults. All right, well, that's it for the headlines with Karen Choi.
The Korea Development Institute has raised its 2026 growth outlook for the nation's economy to 1.8%, citing expectations of a gradual global slowdown next year while domestic demand recovers.
한국개발연구원이 2026년에 점진적인 글로벌 경기 둔화가 예상되는데 반해 내수는 회복세를 나타낼 것으로 본다며 내년 경제 성장률 전망치를 1.8%로 상향 조정했습니다. All right, tell us more.
Yeah, so as mentioned, this is the forecast from the Korea Development Institute, and they've increased their outlook by 0.2 percentage points. So it's not a lot in the big picture, but it now matches the outlook given by the IMF or the International Monetary Fund. And it's, however, lower than the OECD forecast of 2.2%. So they've got it even higher by 0.4 percentage points.
Interesting. OECD의 전망치보다는 낮지만 그래도 기존보다 0.2%포인트 높은 1.8%로 우리나라 경제 성장률을 한국개발연구원이 전망했습니다. Let's have a look at gradual. Gradual increase, gradual decrease. What's gradual?
Something that is gradual is not sudden, but it's like a very small increase or decrease over a long period of time. So it's something that in the short term certainly shouldn't be noticeable, although maybe over a long period of time you might notice a difference. But it's just kind of something very small, a very slight change.
Yes, gradual. 서서히 일어나는 점진적인 것이죠. So you don't notice it immediately. What about a slowdown?
Slowdown is literally something that slows down. So it's going slower than it was going. So in this case, we're talking about the global economy, but it could be something literal. Let's say like a car's slow down, right? You hit the brakes and the car's going to go slower. But in this particular case, we're talking about the economy. So the economy is going to slow down. It's not going to be as good in terms of earning money and stuff. But there's a lot of different things that can be more figurative in a slowdown as well.
When it's a verb, it's two words, to slow down. But when it's a noun, it's one word, a slowdown.
Yes.
둔화가 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The KDI, or the Korea Development Institute, has raised its 2026 growth outlook for the nation's economy to 1.8%, citing expectations of a gradual global slowdown next year, while domestic demand recovers. Here's our next headline.
The annual College Scholastic Ability Test, or Sunung, takes place today with over 550,000 applicants, the highest number in 7 years, set to sit for the milestone academic event.
현행 학제의 중요한 관문 중 하나인 대학 수학 능력 시험이 오늘 치러지는 가운데 올해는 7년 만에 가장 많은 인원인 55만여 명의 수험생들이 수능을 보게 됩니다. All right. Today's the day.
It is, and there are going to be 1,310 test centers across the country from 8:40 a.m. to 5:45 p.m. is the time that they're expecting the test to be taken. So it's coming up very, very soon. You might see some people rushing if they're driving, trying to get there on time. And of course, we've reported before that we tried to make it easier for students to reach their destinations by, people going in later at work today.
A lot of public offices start later today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a total of 554,174 people in particular have applied for this year's test. That is an increase of 31,504 people, or 6%, to be more precise. And that is the most in 7 years.
Right. High school seniors, I understand, account for just under 70%. That means just over 30% of the test takers
2/3
have already graduated, but they're taking the test again. 자, 그래요. 그래서 지금 고등학교 3학년 수험생이 대략 한 67% 정도를 차지한다고 하고요. 전체적으로 55만 4,174명의 수험생이 이번에 시험을 치르게 됩니다.
You know, an interesting fact is that the bulk of the people taking the test this year were those who were born in 2007. And they're saying that there was a large surge in births that particular year.
That makes sense.
And they're saying because that was the year of the golden pig. So I think some people saw it as a lucky year to have the birth of a baby. And I wonder how true that is. But certainly, Koreans believe in things like that. This is a lucky year. It's a not just a pig year. It's a golden pig year.
Has it already been that long?
Yeah, do you remember that year?
Yes, I do.
I remember.
It only feels like a few years ago.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I remember that when everyone was talking about the golden pig year. And to realize that, now it's 17, 18 years past that. It's like, wow.
Because the pig is a very auspicious animal in Asian culture. If you dream of a pig, they say you're going to strike it lucky, you're going to get rich. So, a pig is already lucky. But a golden pig.
Yeah.
So I guess babies born in the year of the golden pig, they have that extra bit of luck with them. Not babies anymore. They're taking the test this year.
Hopefully they're lucky with the test as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. 벌써 그렇게 됐나요? 자, 그래요. 이번에 8시 40분부터 5시 45분까지 예년과 똑같이 이렇게 시험이 치러지게 되고요. 또 어제 전해드린 것처럼 영어 듣기 평가가 치러지는 시간인 오후 1시 5분부터 40분까지는 굉장히 조용히 우리가 다 해야 되겠죠. 공항에서는 이제 당연히 비행기들의 이착륙이 다 그 시간대에 금지가 되는데 우리도 모두 다 숨죽여서 조용히 이렇게 있어야 될 것 같아요.
I wonder if other countries do that. Because I know Canada doesn't, to my knowledge.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a big deal for Korea.
Yeah. All right, so there's more than 550,000 applicants.
An applicant is someone who wants to do something. And so you apply in order to do this thing because there might not be either as many spots available to do something, or it might have a certain requirement that you need to exceed to be able to enter or to be able to participate in something. So you apply or you become an applicant. I want to do this. I want to try out for this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you'll be able to because there will be some sort of a selection process in that. So not everyone is guaranteed to become a participant, but you're going to apply. You're showing that I want to do this.
지원자라는 뜻이에요. applicant. 여기서는 test taker라는 단어로 대체해도 되고요. 수능 applicant라고 좀 더 구체적으로 얘기해도 되고요. Well, more than 550,000 applicants will be sitting for the 수능. If you sit an exam, that means you're taking the exam. 시험을 보다. 영어에서 see나 look를 쓰지 않고요. sit 아니면 take 동사를 씁니다. Well, it's an academic event, a very important academic event.
Yeah, anytime you see the word academic, then it gives you the impression of learning something or to educate yourself in something. We think of academies as a place that you go to learn a skill or an art of some sort. And in the same way, this is an event because it's a nationwide test that's being taken at the exact same time in all these different locations. So it is a big event. It's not just a small academic thing. I mean, it's an academic event across the country.
네, 교육 관련 행사 이렇게 영어식으로 표현을 했는데요. 가장 중요한 그런 교육과 관련된 시험이라고 볼 수도 있겠죠. 우리나라에서는 academic, 학술적이다, 교육과 관련됐다라는 뜻인데요. Yesterday we learned the word fellow, which can be used in all sorts of situations, but in the academic sense, we're talking about a graduate student, a graduate school student who has received a fellowship or some sort of a grant. So academic words are a little bit different to normal words we use.
Correct.
자, 다시 한번 그럼 읽어보겠습니다. The annual college scholastic ability test or 수능 takes place today with over 550,000 applicants, the highest number in 7 years, set to sit for the milestone academic event.
A bridge in China's southwestern Sichuan province is collapsed just months after its opening, following visible signs of geological instability in the surrounding terrain and raising concerns about long-term construction standards.
중국 서남부 쓰촨성의 대형 교량이 완공된 지 불과 10개월 만에 무너졌습니다. 교량 주변 지역 지형이 불안정한 징후를 보인 지 하루 만에 일어난 이번 붕괴로 중국의 장기 건설 기준에 대한 우려가 제기되고 있습니다. Oh no. What happened?
So I guess they have this bridge that was there less than a year, so it's just a matter of months after. And I guess the ground in the area, it wasn't as stable, in particular in that area. It's kind of known for that. So there's been a lot of concern, and I guess there were visible signs that this could happen. So it doesn't seem like there were any injuries or deaths. I would imagine that they were able to kind of see this about to happen before it actually did happen, is my understanding. But then this wasn't the only event. Another railway bridge under construction in the Qinghai province collapsed during a cable tension operation with at least 12 people losing their lives. 4 others were missing. So this was just in August. So there have been a few instances going on in China that is concerning them.
우려가 되는 그런 일들이 계속 발생하네요. Well, 10 months after its opening, 이 opening이라는 것은 개통식, 개장 이런 거죠. 가끔 보면은 사인에 이제 그랜드 오픈 이런 사인들이 있어요. 근데 이거는 이제 콩글리시고요. 가게가 문 열 때 grand opening이라고 해야 돼요. opening이 바로 문 연다, 개통식, 개장, 뭐 개업식 이런 뜻입니다. 자, 여기서는 10 months after opening, the bridge has collapsed. So there were visible signs of instability.
And if you have a visible sign of instability for a bridge, I'm guessing what that would mean would probably be that there's cracks that you could see. So a visible sign is something that you can see that will be kind of a hint as to what is to come in the future. So what could you really see on a bridge? The first thing that you would come to mind would be like a crack of some sort, maybe unless there was like a cable actually broke or frayed or something like that. But something that you could be that could be seen, that you can, oh, wait, something's wrong there. I can see it. It's visible.
Visible, and the opposite is invisible. It all has something to do with being able to see it or not being able to see it. 보이는 것이 visible, invisible은 안 보이는 거잖아요. 그래서 visible signs는 눈에 보이는 징후가 있었다. 자, 그 다음에 long-term construction standards.
Long term, first off, is something not in the immediate, but when you think about it over the course of a long period of time. So they want a bridge to be functional, but not just for a year or just for 10 months. They want that bridge to be functional for long term, maybe like 50 years or 100 years. So they want this to be stable for a long period of time. But the construction standards on that is how you want something to be built, what your expectations are, that your guideline as to what your expectations are of how a bridge should be. And this is for the long-term future of that bridge, not just for now, not for next year, but over the course of 50 or 100 years, how strong are we going to make that bridge? How safe are we going to make that bridge? What are our expectations that we believe should be there? And these are being questioned right now with the Chinese construction.
Even when we talk about goals, we talk about short-term goals and long-term goals. So short-term goals in terms of, let's say, studying English might be to learn 5 words a day or 10 words a week. I don't know if is that too little?
No, I don't know. It's fine.
But whatever, short-term goals. And then your long-term goal might be to be able to talk to anyone in English freely.
Or maybe to achieve a certain score on your TOEIC or TOEFL exam.
Exactly. 자, 이렇게 장기적인 거 long term, 단기적인 것은 short term. 자, 근데 여기서는 장기적인 중국의 건설 기준을 얘기하고 있네요. Long term construction standards. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A bridge in China's southwestern Sichuan province has collapsed just months after its opening, following visible signs of geological instability in the surrounding terrain and raising concerns about long-term construction standards. Here's our next headline.
The sun has unleashed its strongest flare so far this year, triggering strong radio blackouts across Africa and Europe and disrupting high-frequency communication on Earth's sunlit part.
올해 들어 가장 강력한 태양 플레어가 발생해 아프리카와 유럽 전역에 대규모 전파 장애가 일어나고 햇빛이 닿는 쪽의 지구 표면에서 고주파 무선 통신이 교란되는 현상이 나타났습니다. So you'll have to tell us what this flare is, first of all.
So a flare is when the sun kind of has an outburst of energy, I think is the best way I would explain it. That energy, it just becomes stronger. And it'll be like a moment, a surge from a certain area of the sun. And eventually, it takes a little bit of time, but that reaches Earth. And as it comes to Earth, it can be disruptive in various ways. It can cause blackouts, they've been saying, as well as different things for our electronics and different devices can be affected by it. And some have said for many years, scientists have said that there could be, it's possible, it hasn't happened yet to this degree, but it's possible for, it to really affect a lot of electronics and things in much stronger and more destructive ways.
이 flare라는 단어는요. 불길, 불빛, 신호탄, 아니면 갑자기 확 타오르는 것 이런 걸 말해요. 그래서 이제 여기서 태양 플레어라는 것은 전문적인 정의는 태양 활동이 활발해지면서 뒤틀린 자기장에 축적된 에너지가 방출되는 현상 이렇게 정의를 하고 있는데 영어의 flare라는 게 이렇게 불빛이 확 타오르는 것이라고 생각하시면 됩니다. 같이 알아두면 좋은 단어가요. 이 스파크가 있는데 스파크도 불빛이지만 스파크는 작은 불꽃이에요. 불똥 같은 거, 작은 거. 이런 게 이제 불꽃이 튄다. 아니면 우리 차량 얘기할 때도 뭐 스파크 얘기하기도 하는데 여기는 작은 거는 스파크, 플레어는 좀 커요.
Yeah, a couple of things I'll quickly mention with flare is you'll often hear about a flare gun.
Yeah.
And this is for an emergency if you're on a boat.
SOS.
Yeah, on an if an airplane has crashed or you're on a boat, usually in open water, you'll have a flare gun which you shoot up in the sky.
Right.
And it looks like a firework of some sort so that a plane or a boat or something traveling nearby can see you. So the point of it is to be visible.
Right.
So that's a flare gun, which we'll often hear. One other thing I'll say is sometimes we talk about something that flares up. So you might have like your skin might flare up at a certain point, meaning that you might get like a rash or a bump, like a pimple, but something kind of becomes a little bit larger, maybe a little bit red, gets irritable, and something that flares up is usually seen as not a good thing.
우리 피부가 flare up 하면은요, 이게 붉게 갑자기 확 빨갛게 되는 거예요. 아까 우리가 불빛 얘기하면서 플레어는 갑자기 불이 타오르는 거라고 했는데 피부에서는 왜 그럴 때 있잖아요. 뭐 여러 가지 뭐 스킨 트러블이 있을 수도 있고 뭐 알러지일 수도 있고 여러 가지 이유 있을 텐데 이게 빨갛게 올라왔을 때 이런 건 it flares up 라고 표현을 합니다. 자, 다시 돌아와서 We're talking about the flare of the sun. The sun unleashed a flare.
Yeah. So let's talk about a leash first. The most common thing we think of is a leash on a dog or an animal of some sort. And what you do with a leash is you put it around the animal's neck and then you hold a long string or rope that is attached to it in order to control the animal or dog usually. And because of that, the dog doesn't have freedom. It's limited as to where it can go.
Yeah.
Now, if you unleash it, then you're taking that leash off. So something that had been controlled, something that didn't have true freedom is now free. So now it can kind of go wherever it wants or it suddenly has a power that it didn't have before. So imagine the solar flare. This has kind of been like trapped in the sun and then all of a sudden a little hole or a little break in the armor allowed it to burst outward. So it's been unleashed where this power is suddenly surging out from the sun now.
그래요. 에너지가 넘치는 강아지나 아니면 사냥개 생각해 보세요. 자, 리쉬, 목줄이 매여 있을 때는 그렇게 많이 움직이지 못해요. 그러나 unleashing 했을 때는 목줄을 푸는 거예요. 그러면은 막 엄청 뛰어가겠죠. 강아지나 사냥개가. 그런 것처럼 unleashing something이라는 것은 확 폭발하게 한다라는 의미가 있어요. 그래서 여기서 The sun has unleashed its strongest flare so far this year 라고 해서 태양이 올해 들어 가장 강력한 flare를 발생시켰다. 이렇게 보면 되겠고요. What's a radio blackout?
Let's first talk about a blackout.
Okay.
The most common thing that we'll think of with a blackout is when the power goes out. So sometimes in the summertime, maybe if everyone in a certain area is using the air conditioner too much, then there might be a lack of power. There's not enough power to feed everyone, so we might have a blackout. Or something might happen with a power source, and because of that, there's no power to a certain area. So that's a blackout. There's no energy, so all the lights go out, which is, I think, why we call it a blackout.
맞아.
So that's a typical blackout. A radio blackout is when the radios don't work. And why would that happen? Like I said, because of these solar flares, the amount of energy that is suddenly coming in from something so powerful as the sun, it is affecting the radio waves that are being transmitted. And it interferes with the radio waves, and therefore the radios don't work the way that they should.
그래요. 자, blackout는 정전인데 radio blackout는 무선통신 두절이 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. The sun has unleashed its strongest flare so far this year, triggering strong radio blackouts across Africa and Europe and disrupting high-frequency communication on Earth's sunlit part. Let's move on to the final headline.
A Hungarian man has set a new record for the longest video game marathon, bopping to more than 3,000 songs on a rhythm-based music game over the course of 6 days.
헝가리의 한 남성이 리듬 기반 댄스 게임인 DDR을 6일 동안 이어가면서 3,000곡 이상을 소화해 기네스 세계 기록의 최장 비디오 게임 마라톤 부문 신기록을 세웠습니다. This story makes me laugh because, not because it's funny, but I don't know.
Were you a DDR girl back in the day, or
I
Pump?
was so bad at DDR. Were you good?
I was not. Not at all. I've been on it a little bit. I was actually at Everland on Tuesday.
And there are other great theme parks in Korea too.
There are, but this particular one, they had K-pop Demon Hunters attraction there. And one of the things that they had was like a DDR Pump sort of game set to some of the songs from there for the kids to play.
So were they going up, up,
They
up?
were going up, yeah.
아, 그렇군요. 자, DDR 참 얼마 만에 들어보는 건지 모르겠는데 For 6 days straight, he danced to 3,000 songs.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this guy.
Sure. So, well, first off, I should mention that he did allow himself a 10-minute break for every hour that he would dance.
Okay.
So over the course of 6 days, you can also add those up. So let's say for 6 hours, that would be 1 hour of a break that you could accumulate to use to maybe take a nap. As an example. Okay. So it wasn't like he was continually dancing for 6 days nonstop. He did take a few breaks here and there, but it was still, pretty amazing what he's doing.
물론 중간중간 약간의 휴식은 있었다고 하는데 그래도요. Oh my goodness. So his nickname is Grasshopper?
Grasshopper, yeah, because he bounces or dances a lot. They're saying that he burned more than 22,000 calories during that span as well. I think, even if you burn like 2,000 calories in a day, it's probably good, but 22,000 over those 6 days.
And I thought this guy might be in his 20s, but he's actually in his 30s.
Yeah.
So good for him. 항상 어릴 때부터 이렇게 많이 뛰어다녀가지고 별명이 Grasshopper래요. Grasshopper가 메뚜기인가요? 아니면은 귀뚜라미인가요? It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I always get the two mixed up. 어쨌든 이제 아주 어릴 때부터 이제 가만히 있지 않고 뛰어가지고 Grasshopper라는 별명을 가지고 있는데 지금도 그런 닉네임을 쓰나 봐요. 자, 잘 뛰고 춤추고 기록을 세웠습니다. He bopped. What does bopping mean?
Bopping is basically dancing to like popular music, and it's typically like you kind of sort of hopping up and down, I guess, or you have an up and down sort of emotion to it. And I remember, I think they talked about this as like a dance in like the 1950s, I want to say.
Okay.
Like even before like rock and roll, like you'd have like bops and stuff. So it was like a 50s style of dancing back in the day. Like a sock hop, they call them as well. Yeah.
그러니까 엄밀히 따지면은 1950년대에 유행했던 춤 이러지만 그냥 춤췄다.
Yeah,
이렇게
yeah.
보면 돼요. He bopped, he danced. And over the course of 6 days?
Over the course, meaning that this is the time period that he occupied. So over the course of 6 days, it was during those 6 days.
자, 얼마만의 시간에 걸쳐서 over the course of 6 days. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A Hungarian man has set a new record for the longest video game marathon, bopping to more than 3,000 songs on a rhythm-based music game over the course of 6 days. And that's it for the headlines.